Welcome back to the Two Blues podcast. Welcome to maybe, arguably, the biggest game of the season. This game last season, Tottenham versus Chelsea, was undoubtedly one of the most entertaining games from a neutral standpoint, from a Chelsea standpoint as well. Obviously, we came out of that game having won 4-1, could have been 8. That was the game that Nicholas Jackson grabbed his first hat-trick for Chelsea. Could have had 6 that day. I think looking at where he is now compared to where he was then, this is a player I am buzzing to see. I've been saying all week, he would be the first name on the team sheet today. And albeit it is a Tottenham team sheet with a few players I didn't expect to see, Van de Ven, Romero back in the first 11. And I did think that they might drop Pedro Porro. But back four of Udogie, Porro, Van de Ven, Christian Romero, I think with Fraser Forster in goal as well, I think there is exploitation to be had in this Tottenham team. Let's get into it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. This will be a fairly brief live match preview as well. We have just been active on the TikTok. So if you're not already, make sure you're following at Two Blues Podcast on the Instagram and TikTok. But we will have a quick run through the teams very, very quickly. A few changes for Chelsea. Some expected, some not. We've obviously got that enforced change of Benoit Badiashile coming in for the injured Wes Fofana alongside Levi Colwill. Cucurella maintains his place at left back, and Caicedo retains his place at right back from the game against Aston Villa. Performed excellently there, and obviously, although Malo Gusto was used in midweek, looks like Caicedo has found his deputy, his second role there, something else that he can do for Enzo Maresca. Did it unbelievably against Aston Villa. Don't anticipate him having major issues today. I think he's going to be a lot more troubled with Kulusevski and Son than he was with Bailey, Rodgers. But I do think he has got the beating of anybody he faces. So fingers crossed that right side of Lavia, Badiashile, Caicedo, Neto. I mean, it's industrious. There's a lot of work rate in there. But I think Neto's got a lot to do today. If he is the one that starts on the right, he's got a lot to do in terms of defensive work today. But that back four leads us obviously into the midfield. Lavia and Enzo Fernandez in the middle. Do like Enzo Fernandez with the stability, with the protection of Lavia and Caicedo behind him, mainly because I think it means he can create so much more and doesn't really have to worry about his defensive responsibilities, his defensive duties. Obviously, he can just focus on looking forward, dictating play. And a team like Tottenham, a game like today, is a game where he is going to find more spaces in the centre of midfield. They've gone with Sarr and Bissouma. I know Kulusevski's having a fantastic season, but he's not a central midfielder. So they are fairly light in that centre mid. And we've obviously got Caicedo can move in there. Cucurella can move in there. Enzo, Lavia, Palmer in the middle as well. You are thinking, Chelsea, I've just got to dominate that centre of midfield. But the main individual battles today will be our two wingers versus Tottenham's fullbacks, Udogie and Porro for Tottenham versus Neto and Sancho, respectively, for Chelsea. Looks like on this lineup, it will be Neto on the right side, Sancho on the left, Palmer in the middle, and Jackson up top. Now, obviously, without Mykhailo Mudryk, we've got virtually a fully fit team. We've got Nkunku, João Felix on the bench. So players that we can look to. Madueke as well. I just want to double check that Madueke is on the bench. But we have got reserves that we can dip into. Yeah, Madueke is on the bench. We have got reserves that we can dip into to change the game. You look at Tottenham, they've got James Maddison, Timo Werner. And you think in terms of being able to turn a game on its head, Chelsea have far more depth. We have far more... We are far more stable, I think, than this Tottenham side. You look at some of the injuries they've got, and obviously Van de Ven, Romero back in the team today, but have they been rushed back? Are we going to see a repeat of last season whereby Van de Ven gets his hamstring done by Nico Jackson? I wouldn't wish an injury on anybody, but I'm hoping that these two players have been rushed back before they're ready, because if not, it could be a strong back line and we could struggle to get past it. But you've got to think that they will not change from the high line they've been playing. You've seen this Spurs side. They haven't changed against Bournemouth, against Ipswich. Onge just does not like to change his DNA. And I don't expect them to change today. I think if they do, it would be a smart move, but I just don't see it happening. He's a manager that very, very rarely, if ever, compromises on his morals. And I think he's going to play the same team today. So I think Chelsea just have to focus on that quick transition, that fast moving, attacking, flowing football going forward, getting the ball out to Pedro Neto, out to Sancho, getting it into Cole Palmer and letting him just pull that Tottenham defence apart, because he's going to be able to play the balls over the top. He's going to be able to play the balls in behind. Jackson is going to be on his bike today. No wonder Jackson got rested for a full 90 minutes in midweek, because he is going to be expected to do serious running today. Runs in behind, runs off the back of his man, playing the ball into feet and then bouncing. He's going to be the pivotal link-up player for this Chelsea team today. And if we want to get players like Neto, like Sancho in behind this high line, he's going to be the one that has to drop deeper, be a little bit of a focal point, which is why I think he's gone for Jackson over Nkunku. Nkunku, great technical player, but I feel like Van de Ven could probably have the beating of someone, and your Romero would have the beating of someone like Nkunku, whereas Jackson is a little bit more unpredictable. He can go long, he can come short, he can do it into feet, he can go over the top. And I think definitely, again, high line, don't want to focus on it too much, because it would be just my luck for, the Tottenham side to line up in a fucking 5-5 low block. But if Tottenham do play this high line, I think it's undoubtedly a game of goals either way. But I think this is a game that Chelsea should be winning fairly comfortably. And I know there will be, I don't expect us to keep a clean sheet today. I think Sanchez, particularly after his performance against Aston Villa, very surprised if he doesn't make at least 2 or 3 big mistakes today. It would be a lovely change of pace for him to go a whole week without making an error lead into a goal. But we'll see, man. I do not have much faith in Robert Sanchez. I think he's going to need to be at his best today, because regardless of how well we play going forward, regardless of how many we score, they're going to create chances throughout the game. Son, Solanke, Johnson, Kulusevski, even to an extent Bissouma and Sarr, dangerous players. Sarr can drive. Sarr's great with the ball, carrying the ball through midfield. I think Chelsea are going to have to be bang on it in terms of our defensive, in terms of our communication, in terms of our shape. I think we're going to have to be very careful with the line we play. We have been trying to play the offside trap against teams like Heidenheim on the edge of our box, which, although it worked and it was fantastic when it did, I didn't like it. And if you play that against a team like Tottenham with Son, Kulusevski and Johnson and Solanke in the mix, they're going to cause you problems. They are going to score goals. Appreciate everybody joining, by the way, onto the ball. I'm not going to be reading that one out in solidarity with you, but appreciate you joining, my guy. Shame that your game was called off yesterday, but this is our chance with Arsenal drawing, Liverpool not playing. If Chelsea win today, we go top of the league, lads. And I said to C Money last week, I think it was, or in our weekly roundup this week, I said, where do you see Chelsea at Christmas? Because mathematically speaking, we could be top. I'd like to think we won't be top this weekend, will we? No, we'll still be 3 points behind, but we'll be, we'll be close. We'll be comfortably second, leaders of the rest of the pack, 2 points clear of Arsenal. Look, there's work to be done. We're under no illusions, but today is a huge, huge game. Chelsea cannot lose this, just for the fact that Tottenham have been getting battered every single way that they go. Tottenham have been getting turned over by teams that we've been absolutely smashing with our B team. So, we need to just batten down the hatches today in terms of the defence. Badiashile, I do not want to see. Look, I love Badiashile. I think he's a great player. I don't want to see him taking risks today. I don't want to see any of that messing about at the back. I like the way that we play football out from the back, confident with us. Don't be messing around with it today, please. Because if Brennan Johnson gets in one-on-one, I have no doubt that he's putting it past Sanchez. Not a doubt. But, that'll put hairs in your chest. Score predictions. I said in my TikTok earlier, I'm stuck. I'm stuck between 4-2. I'm stuck between 4-1 and 3-2. So I went 4-2 to give me a little bit of both. I don't know. I can't see it. All I can see is I see goals. But then I feel like everyone's been saying, I see goals. I feel like this could very easily be a 1-2-0. If the teams both turn up. And I think Tottenham will be switched on today. They'll be very aware that I think Onge could be facing the sack if they lose any more games on the bounce. I don't think they're in a diabolical position. They're still ahead of Man United, if I'm not mistaken. But I think they're it's getting to a point where the Tottenham fans have had enough of Onge. You saw, the backlash and what they were saying to him and the way they were criticising him away to Bournemouth. He wasn't very happy with that. It seems like that relationship is fractured, it's faltering. And it's one of those where if Chelsea get kind of 1-2 goals today, we could see a capitulation in Tottenham. But similarly, we've seen Tottenham start exceptionally well. We've seen Tottenham go out and batter Man City at the Etihad. So I don't want to sit here and say, today's a write-off, today's a win. It's going to be an easy game, because this Tottenham side, and I saw somebody else say on Twitter, this Tottenham side has a higher ceiling and a lower floor than the majority of teams. They have the highest ceiling of being one of the best teams in Europe, one of the best teams in the world on their day, like when they beat City, absolutely smashed them, played them off the park. But at the same time, they have the capability, they have the ability to be a mid-table League Two side. They are able to play like a non-league side. And I've said for a long time, you never know what Chelsea you're going to get. That's become less of a factor this season. That's become less of a variable this season. We've become a lot more consistent in our team performances and our results, no matter who the opposition is. But Tottenham, the gap is just getting wider and wider. You never know what Tottenham team you're going to get. And I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't expecting a big reaction from Tottenham today after, a really poor run of games, but mainly that defeat to Bournemouth. Arsenal lost to Bournemouth, Liverpool struggled to Bournemouth, Tottenham lost to Bournemouth. A lot of teams have struggled. I think they beat Man City as well. A lot of teams have struggled to Bournemouth this season, but the Tottenham players would have come out of that as disappointed as they would if they'd lost to Southampton, Leicester, Ipswich. It's a bad game to lose, particularly as a Tottenham player. As a team, you do not want to lose that. And this will be where Onge is going to be getting behind his players, lighting the fire and just saying, look, you're at home. You got the 4:30 kickoff. This is your chance to jump up 6 places in the table with a big win that nobody expects. Regardless of what Enzo Maresca says, and what we say, Onge will be drilling it into those Tottenham players that we are title challengers. We are going for the title this year. And if they beat us, shows everyone that they are still in the title race and able to compete for these positions. We need to put this dog down now. We cannot let them breathe more life, another game week of life into them. This Tottenham side needs to be put down, put out of its misery. Onge needs to be put out of his misery now. That's what we need to do. And if we can do this and get it over the line today, I will be incredibly happy, because it will put Chelsea in an incredible position in the lead up to the new year, in the lead up to Christmas. Every game that we win, I said, a few games ago, we've got 9 games between now and Christmas, all of them winnable, but the 2 tough ones, Villa and Tottenham. Absolutely smashed Villa. If we can do the job on Tottenham, a similar job would be lovely, but look, 3 points today would put us in an incredible position, for the back end of this year, start of next year. Above Arsenal, just off Liverpool. Obviously, they've got a game in hand, but, leaders of the rest, leading the rest of the pack. Enzo Maresca, there's only so many more times Enzo Maresca can deny that we are title challengers. We've got to show that we've got the legs for it, the consistency, the stamina for it, because this Chelsea team is young, but these are the games, these are the ones. And I've said that this season has been kind of a role reversal from last season. Last year we did very, very well against the big teams, went toe-to-toe virtually with every single big team in virtually every single game, bar that Arsenal anomaly. But this season, we've been, better. We've been far better, far more consistent against the lower teams, but we've struggled a little bit more against the bigger teams. Obviously, lost to City first day of the season. We lost to Liverpool. We drew against Arsenal, but we haven't, we've had points taken off of us by virtually every big side, big 6 side, whatever you want to call them. It hasn't been until Villa that I've seen us play a big side with a convincing performance where we just blew them off the park and deserved to win. No questions asked. And that is what we need to see from this Chelsea side today, is we need more of the same. We need professionalism. Tottenham, and look, we are, I don't want to play into their hands. Another thing today, we've improved on the break, the quick transitions, the quick attacks. We're improving on those massively, and we're a big threat from those fast-flowing attacks. But Tottenham are equally as dangerous when the game gets open and chaotic. They've got pace. They've got quality up front. They can hit us. And, we do need to make sure that we maintain that control today. And I feel like that's why Enzo Maresca has gone with Lavia Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, akin to when he did against Villa, because it gives us so much more control in that centre of midfield. And, as I said today, That is where we need to just dominate the ball and control the game. But where the game will be won is in those wide areas. Neto and Sancho up against Porro and Udogie. Obviously, Son and Johnson up against Cucurella and Caicedo on the right. He needs to have a huge game today. But yeah, man, we're fast approaching, nearly 10 minutes until the game. So, guys, Gabriel, appreciate you joining. Let me know your score predictions, man. David, yeah, I don't know how they got Romero and Van de Ven back. I feel like every injury crisis I've heard of or witnessed has just not been an injury crisis. It's been a lie. I feel like far too many people, far too many managers pretend that their players are injured and out when they're not. And like I said earlier, look, I don't wish injury on anybody, but I'm really hoping that he's rushed them back and they're not ready. And they both have to go off in the first half because, yeah, this Tottenham back line's a solid back line. And if they are fit and 100%, and, you know, I can see them keeping us out and causing us troubles at the back. But if they play the high line, yeah, we've got the beating of them every day. And I like Gabriel's confidence. I'll tell you what, though, that's one thing that is kind of making me do a bit of a double take is every Chelsea fan seems exceptionally confident today. I don't think I've seen one Chelsea fan predict a loss, which to me is unfamiliar to say the least. But yeah, man, who knows? Remains to be seen. Get your score predictions in now, guys. Last chance before we head off. Obviously, as I mentioned, we always do, as I always say, we will be doing a live match reaction as soon as the game finishes. So final whistle, make sure you come on here. I will post it to the Instagram, the Twitter, and everything as well. But at Two Blues Podcast on the YouTube is where to find all of our live streams. And yeah, I don't know if Mr. C Money will be joining me, but he hasn't replied to me about joining the preview. So it's probably just going to be another solo stream for you lots. But yeah, appreciate everybody joining. David, Gabriel, I agree. Listen, Romero, I don't think is all that. I think he's a great centre-back on his day, but he has that David Luiz error-prone, you know, South American red flash in him. Which I think is what keeps him from being a world-class centre-back and will always keep him from being a world-class centre-back. Same with Gabriel from Arsenal. He will never, ever be a world-class centre-back. He's just got too much of a rash challenge, too much of a rash streak in him. You need to be able to control that to be a world-class defender. Someone like Van Dijk, John Terry. But yes, I agree. We have to attack this side. It is going to be a game of goals. I need to get my bet on now. What are we thinking? Minimum 3 goals? Minimum 3 goals today. I mean, it's odds on both teams to score, but minimum 3 goals, I'm thinking. But yeah, this Chelsea side are going to need to score a couple because, as I said, particularly with his performance last week, I think Robert Sanchez is due a couple of mistakes. Definitely one error leading to a goal. It's been a while since he's given us one of those. So fingers crossed that Robert Sanchez can hold it down again. But yeah, as I mentioned, guys, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We will be here for a live match reaction as soon as the final whistle goes. Head over to the channel. If I'm not live, I'll only be a couple of minutes away. I'll just be posting the thumbnail to the Instagram, to the Twitter, whatever. But we will be here virtually immediately after the final whistle. So get your score predictions in the comments, guys. Make sure to like the video as well. If you are watching, appreciate that. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We are still yet to be monetized, still pushing that 2K, still pushing those watch hours. Guys, appreciate every single person that does support us. Please continue to do so at Two Blues Podcast on the Instagram and the TikTok. And we will be back in approximately 1.5 hours for the live match reaction. Fingers crossed it's a positive one. Because if it isn't, I'm going to be sitting here skunked out my goddamn mind and most probably cussing out Anthony Taylor for the best part of 45 minutes. But it remains to be seen how it will go down. Get your score predictions in the chat, guys. Make sure to like. Appreciate everybody joining. Up the chills. Come on, the Blues.